So he calls me up at work, and he says, guess what? And I said, what? And my husband saves points for everything. I mean, everything. And he said, I saved up all our hotel points, because remember when the house flooded and they put us up for like a month? Well, my husband got all the points off of that. He saved up all the hotel points. So he said, I have enough points to put us up in a hotel, and they have a Renaissance festival, and I want to go to it. And so I've got this basically a free hotel, and it's a nice one. It's a Hilton, and we're going to go. You take off work. I have like the one position in my job where, no, I can't take off work. Because there's really nobody to like just cover for me. I can't just close my office door, lock it up, and hang my sign on it saying, you know, out for the weekend. I have the one position where if I'm not there, it's an empty seat. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know. And I thought, and besides that, I don't want to miss a day's pay. So I never take off. So I checked my thing, and sure enough, I had enough hours to take it off. Yay for me. So I decided reluctantly, okay, we'll go ahead and do this. So they got somebody to cover for me, and we set out to do it. And then there's the big question. How are we getting there? Now, in our family, when we say how are we getting there, we don't mean by boat, train, plane, whatever. We mean highway, byway, two-way road, scenic route, desert, you know, goat path. How are we getting there? And we decided we were going to take the scenic route. So we set off, and of course, he has two types of GPS set on his phone. There's the car path, and there's the truck path, because he drives truck for a living. Big difference in the two paths. So he sets it for car path, car mode, and we take off. And we're like, it was like off Gilligan's Island. This 2-hour drive is now like a 6-hour adventure. And we're going, and it's like, can we come to civilization? I have to potty, and I'm really thirsty. And we're driving, and and it's like, I see the deer over there, way over there in the bushes. They seem to have a place to potty, just pull me over, okay? We're driving. I thought we'd never get there. And it got me to thinking about our spiritual journey. There's so many different ways to get to a thing, from one thing to another thing. Don't get confused. There's only one way to get into heaven. Okay, John 3:16. Only one way. Don't ever doubt that. But on your little journey, there's going to be obstacles. Things are going to come up against you. There's obstacles if you have kids just walking through your house. You can absolutely cripple yourself just getting out of bed if you have kids. Okay? I've broken a couple of toes and snapped off a good toenail just trying to get through the house. There are obstacles that will come up against you. And there are different paths that you can take to get from point A to point B. In the Bible, it says in Joshua that they went over the walls. It says in Deuteronomy, they went around the mountain, Mount Seir, and they went around it, and around it, and around it, and around it. Sometimes you have no choice, though, but to go through it. To go through a thing. I don't like being forced to go through a thing. Notice how they say, like, cattle through the gate. I don't like being forced to go through a thing. Because if you go over it, you can climb to the top and look down and see what you're going into. If you go around it, you can kind of peek around the corner. If you don't like what you see, you can always pull back. But if you're going through it, there's really no place to hide. When you're going through it, there's no off ramps. There's no exit ramps. There's no lanes to go down. You're going through it. And there's no way to go out of it unless you just turn, expose your back, and run. Don't ever expose your back in anything you do. I learned that the hard way. I told my mother she was too old and too slow to spank me. I was too grown for that. I turned my back to run. I never knew that old woman could move like that. Never knew it. And in midair, she jumped up, grabbed a switch, and kept on running. I don't think she ever stumbled or staggered. And she caught me. And it was like being tackled by the SWAT team. She nailed me like a quarterback. She was not too old. I'm telling you, that woman could still move. Don't ever turn your back and run out of a situation, because you're fully exposed to the enemy. When you start through a thing, there's only one way to the other end, and that's to keep on going. I don't like going through it. I don't like going through it because sometimes you can't see to the other end. Sometimes you can't see around the other obstacles to see clearly why you're still back here. Is it okay to pass these obstacles and run ahead? I mean, have you ever been sitting in a traffic jam? Why are you there? Why are you there? Is there a wreck? Are they working on the road? Did somebody just decide to stop and take a nap? You never know. Is it safe to get out here in this lane and zip on up past it? You never know. So I never like just going through a thing. Sometimes I like going around it, especially if you're in Columbus and it's 5 o'clock traffic. I like going around it. That's why they have beltways. Those are nice. You don't have to go through it because those people are crazy. And if you don't know how to get through it as well as them, the more experienced get-throughers, they will run you over. And they won't even look back to see if you're okay. I mean, ever been to New York? Those people are bumper to bumper. I don't know how they're still alive. They're still overly populated. They drive like flip-flops. I think half of them's been mule-kicked. They all do 90 miles an hour, and they're bumper to bumper. If somebody sneezes, it's a domino effect. I can't stand to drive. No wonder people actually walk in New York. It's not safe to even walk. I don't like going through a thing because a lot of times you're like cattle at the gate. Sometimes, though, God will force you to walk through it. Sometimes you're not given the option to go over it, to go around it. In Exodus, when Moses split the sea, God allowed Moses to split the sea so they could walk through it, and they walked on dry land. You know, that had to be very terrifying. They looked up, and on both sides of them, do you know how tall that must have been? I'm sure they could see the animals, the fish and stuff, the sea creatures in the sea. And I'm sure they're kind of wondering if at any minute they're not just going to fly out at them. I wouldn't want to walk through the sea. I don't like swimming in places I can't see the bottom. Anything could bite your toes off. You don't know what's in there. So that would have to be very terrifying. And there was no escape route. And they just had to go straight through and trust in God that it would be okay until they got to the other end. But as they stood on the other end and they looked back, it wasn't okay for Pharaoh's people. That thing closed up as quick as it opened up. And that right there shows you the grace of God. Just because God causes you to walk through a thing doesn't mean that God won't walk through it with you. I mean, he has many different names because he has many different characters. Jehovah Nisi, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah. He's not just one side. He's not just a flat piece of paper. He's multidimensional. Because he is everything you will ever need to get through any situation you will ever need to get through. The problem with most people going through a situation is impatience. Are we there yet? Impatience. Impatience. Lord, I've been going through this. I have fasted. I have prayed. And I've been going through it for 30 whole minutes. Are we through it yet? Are we there yet? Or I've been struggling with this for years. I just want to be through it by now. I thought I would be over this emotion, or over this sickness, or over this situation, or over the way I felt about that relationship. I thought I would be so over it by now and have it so behind me. And no, it's still there. And I just want to get to the other side of it. Are we there yet? And sometimes it seems like we're just trotting along with no end in sight. No end in sight. You know, sometimes when you're swimming, if you're not careful, even in a pool, you can crack your head. Because when you got your head down and your eyes closed and you're swimming, you really don't know how close you are to the other side. It's the same way when you're running towards your goal spiritually. You don't know how close you are to the other side. You know, when David walked up there with a stone, that entire army did not know that they were a stone's throw away from victory. A stone's throw away from victory when God got a hold of the stone. They were going to give up and they were a stone's throw away. You don't know how close you are to your victory. Let me tell you how to know how close you are. How much resistance are you feeling from the enemy? How much chaos is suddenly going through you and through your home? How much irritation is suddenly dropped into your relationship? How much of an idiot is your spouse suddenly acting like? Am I hitting home with anybody? I mean, come on. Is your vehicle suddenly acting up? Is it in between payday and you suddenly need 3 new tires? You're a stone's throw from your victory. Amen? Because the closer you get, I mean, when you're 20 miles out, there's not that much resistance. Because the devil kind of knows Christians. We'll probably taper out in about 5 miles. It's the way we are. Well, that was just a fad and a fancy, and then we'll move on to something else. He's not used to hardcore, hard heart, hard praying, hard crying, hard fasting, hard tongue talking Christians that are there for the long haul. He's not used to that. There's not a lot of that anymore going around. He's not used to prayer warriors anymore. He's not used to people hooking up together. He's not used to people, families that pray together. He's not used to husband and wives that hold hands before they leave their bedroom and pray together. He's not used to that anymore. He doesn't put up with a lot of that anymore. That's just something we did back then. You know, back then when we had roast beef on Tuesdays. We don't do that much anymore. So when you're way back here, 20 miles off, he doesn't really bug you. It's when you are close to getting through it that you start hitting the rough roads, the potholes, the gravel in the road. Amen? The power lines are down, the trees are down, the heavy rains. That's when he starts battling you. Because that's when he starts shaking. Oh my, I think they're going to go for the finish line. Oh my, I think they were seriously going for the distance. Oh my, I think this was a goal they really wanted to see. Man, they really wanted their children saved. Oh man, they really wanted to work their marriage out. Oh wow, they really wanted to conceive a child. That's when you get your resistance. That's when most people give up. Don't give up. You're not there yet. You're not there yet. You're a stone's throw away, but you're not there yet. If I was swimming, I'd look up and make sure I wasn't about to crack my head, because you're almost to the other side. Amen? But you're not there yet. You're not there yet. Your miracle is a stone's throw away. Your victory is a stone's throw away. But you're not there yet. Sometimes you can take the scenic path and it's enjoyable. You can find joy in the journey. Sometimes God will let you go over it. Sometimes God will let you go around it. Sometimes, like an eagle, you can just fly above it. And I've had those times where I thought it might take me out, but instead I was able to just soar over it. Those are gifts from God. Those moments, I'm here to tell you, don't happen all the time. That is God literally picking you up and sailing you over it. You don't ever fly on your own. Don't ever forget that. But there are times where God is going to part the path, and you are going to have to walk through it. And it may be scary times like that, but it's the way it is. And you will come out the other end stronger and tougher and smarter and more patient with more faith. Because where do we get faith? Patience. Yeah, I was dumb enough to ask for faith once. You're going to come out better than you went in. Amen. But most of the time, you're going to want to give up in the middle, because you're not going to be able to see around the crowds. You're not going to be able to see over them, especially if you're short like me. I spend most of my life doing this. Amen? Because everybody's taller than me. They call me the hobbit in the family. I mean, 5 foot is a real height. 5 foot is a real height. It's legitimate. It's not short. It's just petite. But it's a real height. I don't like having to go through a thing. I like a game plan. I like to know, how are we getting there? What are we going to do along the way? I like to say I'm just going to fly by the seat of my pants, but really I'm not. I can be flexible, but I want a game plan. Is there going to be a Dunkin's along the way? Is there going to be a Dairy Queen? Is there going to be a McDonald's? Is there going to be a rest area? I want to know, so me and my bladder and my mouth can get all synced up. You know. I mean, am I going to have to take my own toilet paper and go pet the deer on the head? I want to know. I don't mind, but I want to know. Don't ever do it in a state park, though. Rangers actually go around those places. picking the flowers aren't the only thing illegal in a state park. But I want to know. But sometimes when God has you to go through a thing, you don't know because he doesn't give you the whole picture. He just gives you a little bit in front of you and a little bit in front of you. And do you know why God doesn't give you the whole picture? You couldn't handle it. You couldn't stand it. It would scare you so bad, you would just drop dead. You would run the other way. You would. You would just lay down and expose all your soft parts. And the bears would eat you. They really would. Because you couldn't handle it. If I stand here right now and look back at where I came from, I'm totally awestruck. It's like, wow, Daddy God, how did you get me here? Did you see that hot mess back there that you started with? How did you get me here? Why did you want to get me here? I wouldn't have put up with that brat for a minute. And you saw something in her, and you brought her here. She was wild and crazy. She was a lot of fun, but she was an idiot. But you brought her here. I can't imagine that. So if I was standing back there and God showed me here and all the things I had to go through to get here, I wouldn't have made it. I just wouldn't have made it. I would have said, no, that's impossible. That's just way too much. That's impossible. I could never do that. And God is aware of that. Your little teeny tiny head can't handle all that. So, in all his wisdom, he knows to take you a little bit by a little bit by a little bit by a little bit. Amen. And that's how he got you here. Sometimes he let you go around it, and sometimes over it. And sometimes he just picked you up and soared you over it. But sometimes, and I don't know why, it always seems like when you're at your very, very, very lowest, when you're at your very weakest, when you just can't move one more inch, he makes you go through it. He just makes you go through it. But you know, when you are stuck in traffic, that is the time that you actually talk more to the person beside you. Hey, what else are you going to do? You're stuck in traffic. You don't have time to whip out your phone and finish up your game or read the book or what else are you going to do? You can't reprogram your car. If it's like my car, it has to be parked to do anything with the radio, which is stupid. I mean, I could drive down the road and program but it won't let you. So what else are you going to do? You're going to communicate. And when it seems like you're stuck in traffic with God spiritually, that's one of the best times to communicate. Well, what else are you going to do? You're not really moving that fast. Yeah. That is a perfect time to really catch up on your relationship with God. That's the perfect time. Put your devices down. Shake off everybody out of your brain. Because your brain is just, well, your brain's about as dumb as a goose over a clothesline. And, I mean, it just won't shut up. And it's not like Solomon's where it's just full of wisdom. It's usually dumber than a flip-flop. And it just rattles on with stupid stuff floating in it. Shut your brain down. Put your devices down. Put your resentment beside you. Shake some of that stuff off and just tune God in. That's the best time to do it. Just tune God in. And just talk to God while you're going through it. If He never leaves you or forsakes you, He's there with you. Tune Him in. Ask Him why you're going through it. Ask Him what He wants you to get when you get to the other side. Not, what am I going to get out of it? What's in it for me? What do I want out of it? But God, what are you wanting to instill in me? What are you wanting for me to get out of this? Where are you wanting me to land? Are you wanting to increase my ministry? Are you wanting to increase my compassion towards others? Are you wanting me to increase my wisdom? What are you wanting me to get out of this, God? How am I going to be able to better serve you when I get through this? Amen? How can I be a better person, a better Christian, a better servant when I get through this thing? Amen? A lot of times in schools and in the armies and stuff, they make you run obstacle courses. And it's not so they can see you stumble and fall and, run around and flip-flop like fish out of water. It's so you can coordinate and get your balance and, get some coordination, because they know there's going to come a time when you might need that. You might need to hurdle through and run through some obstacles in life. Because someday you might have kids. You might have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. You're going to have to dodge some Legos. Amen? They do that for a purpose. Okay? Not so they can sit back and sip their coffee and laugh at what a bow-legged idiot you are. Although that can be funny. They have a purpose for that. When God puts you through a thing, He has a purpose for it. Pay attention to it, because there's normally a test at the end of it. There's normally coming a time when you're going to need that training. There's usually a test at the end of it, so take notes. Amen? You don't want to get out on the other side and realize that you didn't really learn anything. And now you need to know it. Nobody wants to do that. It's like when they teach you how to use the fire extinguishers and you don't pay attention. And then you set your kitchen on fire and you're standing there holding the thing trying to read the directions. And your hair's singeing. The time to have learned would have been when they were teaching you. In a kitchen that wasn't engulfed in flames. I'm just saying. When you were trying to be taught by somebody that was educated would have been the time to have learned something. Pay attention when God takes you through a thing. Pay attention when He puts a new path or a new direction. Pay attention when He takes you in a new area of ministry or in a new calling, or when He takes you out of your comfort zone. Pay attention. Because He may have a different game for you. Because He knows something's coming up and you're going to need this training. And you're not there yet. And how you get there is just as important as what you do when you arrive there, which is a whole different lesson. I won't even take you down that path tonight. But how you get there is just as important as where you're going and what you do when you get there. Amen? You can have joy in your journey if your journey is with Jehovah. So pay attention Pay attention when you're being taught how to walk through something. And spend time with God while you're doing it. Don't try to take shortcuts. Yeah, I kind of learned that. There are no shortcuts with God. He's not a shortcut kind of God. He'll make you redo it, I promise. Yeah, he doesn't do shortcuts. You don't learn anything when you try to take shortcuts. You kind of need to, take the long way around, take the whole path. Yeah. So pay attention. Complete the whole course. Amen. Take notes. You might learn something. You might need to teach somebody what you've learned. You may need to teach somebody what you've learned. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, you're just always the same temperament. Like you're never angry, but you're never hysterically happy, or you're just, it's just always me. And I said, it's the joy of the Lord. It just kind of, it kind of will keep you balanced. It's just the joy of the Lord. I don't take anything really overly serious. I don't overthink things. Which kind of has gotten me into a lot of trouble. It's like, well, I should have thought that through. But I just trust and depend on the Lord. I've said my prayers. I've turned my day over to God. I've asked for His wisdom, His protection. I put Him in charge. I put Him over me. And I'm going about my day. And I'm trusting in Him to get me where I need to be by the end of the day. And if you're in my path, it's probably for a purpose. And after all, I was created to serve. So how can I serve you? It doesn't matter how you affect me. And I work in the kind of field where I have people coming at me in all different moods and temperaments. I really do. Why? Because hurting people hurt people. Because some people want to break you before you have a chance to break them again. Because some people have been places where that's the only way they know how to act. It's like, please don't greet me by knocking my head off. This isn't prison. You don't have to live like that anymore. Don't pre-sharpen your pencils on both ends. We don't do that here. Because some people don't know any other way to act. That doesn't mean I have to act like them. Amen? Because I have the joy of the Lord, I can show His love and His mercy. And it keeps me balanced. It keeps me balanced because most people that I run into during the day, they need somebody stable and balanced in their life. They've never had that. They're bat crap crazy, and everybody in their whole life has always been bat crap crazy. And they've never known stable. You may be the only Bible somebody else ever gets to read. Don't go all psycho on them. Amen? Have some joy in you. Be stable. Be balanced. Stay on the right path. Walk through it, because sometimes you have to walk through it. Just walk through it. And walk through it boldly. Because when you got Jesus in you, a little secret the devil really can't tell you from him. When you got the light of Jesus in you, when you're wearing the full armor of God, really all he can see is the light. The more Jesus you have in you, the less of you he can see. And he has a real hard time. Are you or are you him? And he doesn't want to mess with him. Amen? He kind of learned that lesson. Stay balanced. Don't be afraid to walk through it. But whatever you do, don't turn and run from it. Because, the full armor of God doesn't say anything about having your back covered. I mean, what are you going to do? Hold a cardboard box up over you and run? I wouldn't. I wouldn't give that a try. And it never says anything about the back being covered. Your back's wide open. So don't ever turn your back on it. Amen? Let God just walk with you while you keep walking through it. And get to the other side. And you'll get there when you get there. Amen? And the victory will be ever so sweet. Because victory's always sweet. I have never once in my life gotten to the other end and said, oh man, I did that for this. I've never once did that. The victory was always so much sweeter than I could have ever imagined. Amen. Prayers are answered. Fervent prayers of a righteous man availeth much. Fervent. He doesn't give up. Righteous. He has faith. He believes. He knows who he's praying to. Availeth. It delivers. It comes to fruition. Amen. Don't back down and don't give up. You are a stone's throw away from that victory that you've been going for. Amen. Amen. Hang in there, guys. Do you have anything else?